Is this the moment where potentially paid sick leave becomes universalized?
I do think so. We're one of the only countries that doesn't have it. It makes so much sense that if you're sick, that you should not be penalized where you don't have an income. The other thing, I was just questioning the director of the CDC today, and it turns out our entire CDC budget is $10 billion. To put that in context, that's 1.5% of our national defense budget. If we had just doubled that, if we had $20 billion, we would have had the ability to have the testing we needed. We have dramatically underinvested in public health in this country, and we need to take this moment to increase investment in that.
Let's talk a little bit about what has just taken place in San Francisco, requiring strongly that no events of more than 250 people take place. The Warriors are now going to play a game tomorrow night in front of no fans. Do you think those responses are appropriate? What's happening in Santa Clara County, your neck of the woods?
I do. I mean, we canceled my town hall in Santa Clara. I do a town hall every single month, but we're going to do it virtually on Facebook. As I mentioned earlier, Santa Clara and Stanford have canceled their school year. In Santa Clara County, they have said that there should not be any large gatherings. We need to do everything we can to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. I mean, Dr. Fauci was in front of our committee and made it clear this is 10 times as potent as the flu. So in particular, people who are elderly or have underlying health conditions are at risk. So we all have an obligation to do everything possible to prevent the spread.
I have to ask, just because I sit here and I go, I listen to Stanford and Harvard and many colleges and organizations. They're canceling classes or they're going to online learning, not just for a couple of weeks, but for the rest of the year. Are we overreacting, or do we know more about how bad this is going to get than we've really even been told?
I don't think we're overreacting. I mean, Dr. Fauci today said this is going to get worse before it gets better. We know that this is deadly if someone is elderly and gets the virus. We know if someone has underlying health conditions, it can be a huge issue. And we still don't have an antiviral. I mean, Gilead and other companies are trying very hard to come up with antiviral cures, and I'm hopeful that we will have a breakthrough. But until we have a treatment, until we have a drop in numbers of the virus spreading, I think we all have to take every precaution. That's not panic. That's just being smart.
Congressman, let me go back to the question about how you kind of get a little extra money in households' hands without necessarily going through the healthcare system or some of the other ways that you mentioned.
Sure.
Why isn't there more support for a payroll tax cut, which, again, can be as long or short as you need it to be of whatever amount? But, again, with the idea of boosting take-home pay by maybe $1,000, is there support for getting that money directly to households in a different way, albeit might take longer to actually carry that out? I mean, just, again, to help people who might have to go and stock up on a month's worth of groceries or 2 months or whatever and don't really have the wherewithal to do that under normal circumstances.
I think the concern is that a payroll tax cut would end up benefiting employers more than the workers. One other way to get about it is a dramatic expansion in the earned income tax credit. We know that 80% of that money goes to the actual workers. And so if someone were to propose a way of getting that money in the hands of people who are workers and most of the money is going to them, they'd probably get more support. And as you know, the earned income tax credit was a Milton Friedman idea. It was a Republican idea. So, I mean, that would be one thing I would support.
Okay. Maybe some common ground. Congressman, thanks so much.
Thank you.